Okay. Good morning, Miss Hall. How are you?
I'm good.
So I'm here because this is part of my project for linguistics. So I work with your student, Andres. We're going to call him Andres. And I wanted to ask you first, well, you teach some language arts, right?
Yeah.
English. So what difficulties do you see with him?
The main thing is that he really struggles with just like translation a lot. So like he'll think of a word in Spanish and be like, I don't know what it is in English, or like he'll know a word in English, he won't be like, but I don't know how to say it in Spanish. Like he says he always tells me, he's like, I get the languages confused, you know, and then it's the speaking out loud. He gets very nervous with reading out loud, anything we do, which we read aloud like as a group a lot. So I've learned not to call on him. We're just starting to read a play, and like if I pick him for a character, he'll read one that has like one line and he'll like read it, but like I have to warn him before class so he can read it to himself and know all the words beforehand, because he gets embarrassed if he can't say it correctly. So he's very self-conscious of the fact that he like doesn't know, but he's pretty well acclimated and understands for the most part everything, and does all the same assignments. And when he struggles, he usually sits next to me and I'll help him with whatever he needs.
Okay, that's awesome. So I got writing sample and also speech sample, and I was analyzing because his native language is Spanish. So I can see how he was like when he was writing. He was like writing the way he speaks. And so it was, I didn't see a lot of punctuation. It was just a lot of words, no paragraphs.
Yes, exactly.
And just the way he talks. So, and that's pretty normal because, that's what they do.
Right.
They write as they speak. So he got here when he was in sixth grade. And he took the test to see how his English was at that moment. At that moment, he was really low. He took the access test, that is to see his proficiency, in January 2019. And these are the scores that I think you have his BSP.
Right.
So his listening was 6.0, speaking 3, reading 4.6, writing 3.2, oral language 2.9, and literacy 3.5. So his overall was 3.6. They need 4.5 to exit the program.
Right.
He's close, but
he's getting there.
Yeah, he's getting there.
He's getting there.
So I saw his EL teacher said his goal for this year will be 4.0. So hopefully he will be able to get there.
Yeah.
So the other thing is like, when we try to compare Spanish with English. So they are, we use the same alphabet, but Spanish is like a lot easier than English because we have rules that they don't change. So pretty much if you know the sounds of the letters, you can read, and you can pronounce it. But English is different.
Very much, yes.
So some of the mistakes I saw with Andres were like that, like trying to transfer Spanish into English. So his mistakes were like that. So, for example, S, we in plural in English, we put S, but in Spanish is different. We change the article, or we change for feminine and masculine. So I saw that in his written sample. Let me see what else here. So, here. So, for example, the verbs, they don't conjugate the same way. So, often that's another problem. When he does the past tense, is that will happen. The pronouns too are different. Prepositions, and that happens to me too. I'm not an English native language, so with the prepositions like in, on, I still get confused sometimes. So I could see that with him. Like we only have N for it's recording. That's a problem too with the prepositions, because in Spanish we only have N. So N is for everything, but in English we have to decide, okay, it's in, on.
It's all it is a lot.
So I feel like if he is aware of this stuff, it will be easier for him, when he's writing. Another thing that is awesome with Spanish and English is the use of cognates. So there are a lot of words that we have in Spanish that they come from the same roots, Latin roots. So for him knowing, these cognates, it will help him understand text. So let me see. I think I have. I will give you a list of cognates that he can use. For example, nation, nación. Realmente is really. So in Spanish, everything that ends with the Y, it will be like it's the same word. It's the same termination. So it's really good. Secure, seguro. So knowing these cognates for him, giving him a list of cognates that will help him. So we work with we learn about this functional linguistics. So pretty much it's like making the linguistics we have linguistics alive in our classroom, obviously, but like giving him a lot of opportunities to work with be social with the other students so he can practice. And also like the activities that he does or they do are meaningful to them. So because before teaching grammar was in the really traditional way. So, and that's how I learned English, actually, like knowing all the conjugations, all the translations and stuff. But we learned that the best way is when it's meaningful to them, when they are writing with a purpose, and doing like language studies. For example, I don't know if they're going to work with opinion, so give them a lot of chances to read about opinion, read what opinions look like. And so that way, when they are ready to write opinions, they had experience with that. Also, if they are the topic that they're going to write about, that is something that matters to them. So that way they will be more involved and stuff like that. Let me see what else is important. I don't know. Do you have any questions?
No, he's been pretty great. We do a grammar day once a week.
Okay.
And sometimes he flies through them and he's great, and other times he struggles. Like yesterday, he struggled when we did capitalization practice.
Okay.
Which they all struggled, so it wasn't just him.
Yeah.
So it was really but once he sat down next to me and we started working together, he I think it's just building the confidence in himself. I think that's the bigger thing for me, that I've noticed anyways. I don't see he does struggle, but no more than other kids who struggle and don't have the same barriers that he did. Like he actually excels more so than kids who didn't have to learn a second language. And his biggest thing, I think, is just building up his confidence that he can do it, because he is very intelligent and he gets it pretty quickly.
I know.
So
and he talks, when you talk to him, he is really fluent. He can communicate socially.
I don't have a lot of issues with the community. Like I said, I think it's just more him feeling confident in himself that he can read it, but he can, and once I kind of sit with him for a little while and build it up, then he usually is fine. And he just kind of sits by me just in case. But he finished the assignment yesterday within, I don't know, 20 minutes, and other kids, it took them the whole 45. So he's usually very he just likes, I think he likes having that crutch of me next to him to know that you're doing okay if he needs the help. But he's pretty self-sufficient for the most part.
And I feel like when we got the recording from the speech sample, he was a little bit saying that he didn't like here, that he wishes he would go back to Guatemala.
He does,
and that's normal too, because he's far from his
land, his
country. Yes.
Yeah.
But even though I think that he's excited with the football, and
he is, he's getting more involved, and I think too the issue is that he doesn't want to be grouped, because we have a couple of other Guatemalans who are here, and I think he wants to be looked at as he's just a normal, regular kid here, and the issue is like they kind of the kids they group them in with the other Guatemalans just because they all speak the same language and all these things, and they're just I think it's more just like him trying to acclimate himself into the culture and trying to be more what they want him to be, and I'm like, you kind of have to be what you want to be, you know, like it's not don't like Guatemala, like don't like take away what you have to offer, like just because you're different it's okay, you know. So I think he's trying to figure out that balance of, like,
and you know, that's a good tool, like to try to use that he thinks about Guatemala that he can write about or he can share with the classroom, so it will be meaningful for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Also with the access scores, I think Miss Linda gave you like the Kindle descriptors. So what he is able to do, because that's something else, like a lot of often we focus a lot in what they cannot do yet.
Yeah.
But based on this, we can know what he's able to do. So for example, he's able to understand oral language in English. We know that. He can communicate ideas and details orally in English and use sentences. I saw in his written sample that he used really basic vocabulary and sentences in present tense. But knowing this, we can like push him a little bit and you know, like expect more from him, but knowing also what he's capable of doing. So I think like you're doing a great job, and I think he will, with some of these recommendations, like doing stuff that are meaningful for him, knowing like how he is acquiring the language, what he's able to do right now, and like seeing his background, and connecting background with the class. I think it's gonna be really, really good for him. So I'm gonna give you a copy of some these recommendations, so you can have them and use them if you need with him and with other of the else.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.